Tonight on Our News Live at 7, airlift for Exuma could be taking a hit. This as Sandals Emerald Bay officially closes its doors today for a major transformation. Their general manager explains the potential impact. But first, industrial unrest on the University of the Bahamas campus, as UB workers say they are long overdue salary increases. And 1 year later, the Parliamentary Service Commission holds its first meeting, a year after the bill was passed for the creation of the managing body. And then, in Our News at 7:30, the details on how the Royal Bahamas Police Force says they're cracking down on reckless motorcyclists on our streets. Welcome to Our News Live at 7, and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Marlena Leonard, in for Candino Knowles. Well, we've seen a week of protests across multiple islands over various power and water issues, and today was no exception. In Grand Bahama, residents in the Lewis Yard area protesting the local power company's proposed base rate increase. We'll have the details in our 7:30 newscast. But we begin tonight with a labor-related protest in the capital. Frustrated University of the Bahamas workers took to the streets this morning over overdue salary increases. Delvardo Emanuel was there.
Dozens of visibly frustrated staff at the University of the Bahamas gathered in solidarity outside the university's Performing Arts Center to protest. Their concerns are centered on not getting salary increases. This is the third demonstration in 7 months, and Bahama Public Service Union President Kimsley Ferguson says they're being treated like second-class citizens. They say enough is enough.
Today we are agitating for the review from 2007. We expect consideration to be given from that particular time to this very date. The particulars that the minister indicated that will take place for public servants, while this may be an organization aside, it is subsidized by the Bahamas government. And so we expect that the government will do right by the people that we do represent.
Doubling up on the frustrations, Ferguson claims the union reached out to officials at the university with hope of getting an update.
We had a brief conversation with the Human Resource VP, who advised that some discussions were taking place. I don't know what needs to be discussed. It's in the industrial agreement. It had a time-sensitive situation attached to it. We expect now that we would be receiving the results or a proposal as to what the salary review is looking like.
Ferguson also had this to say.
We're tired of hearing you sign 32 industrial agreements and the people can't benefit. Maybe it's because we were not a part of signing the memorandum of understanding that we're being ostracized.
We reached out to both presidents of the university and Labour Minister, but got no response up until news time. Reporting for Our News, I'm Delvardo Emanuel.
Thanks for that, Delvardo. And as we said, we're also bringing you the updates from the Lewis Yard protests this morning, where some are saying settlements outside of the Freeport area should be exempt to any potential rate increases. Italia Hall has the details, and you can catch that in our 7:30 newscast. And 1 year after the bill was passed, the Parliamentary Service Commission met for the first time this week. Their purpose? Achieving parliamentary independence. Our Berthany McDermott spoke to members of the government and opposition, and they say it's a step in the right direction.
It's being described as one of the biggest reformatory measures since Parliament's inception. Foreign Affairs Minister Fred Mitchell says the move was groundbreaking. Topping the agenda for the Commission, according to Mitchell, will be staffing concerns.
Most of the personnel are already there, but there's some formal things which have to be done in order to concretize or bring the act into force, which came into force on the 1st of July. So in setting up new systems, there's a lot of work to be done, and so it's routine and kind of technical at the moment.
The Commission met yesterday. It consists of 6 government members, including the House Speaker and Senate President, and 2 opposition members.
Beforehand, the executive basically controlled the work of the Parliament. So just as the government has passed an act to give the court services their own separate jurisdiction with regard to matters concerning their management, this now also applies to the Parliament. And we're just going through the legislation. What are the powers, the extent of the powers, if there are any changes which need to be made, staffing issues, looking at services which are provided to members of Parliament, and things that would just inure to the benefit of defending the independence of the Parliament.
The bill would establish an autonomous body independent of the executive branch of government and the civil service, and place the responsibility for the parliamentary service under the control and management of the body known as the Parliamentary Service Commission. It would also promote accountability and transparency for the service. But how does the opposition feel? St. Anne's MP and opposition member Adrian White says he believes the commission will make a difference and is a step in the right direction.
One small step, as Neil Armstrong said. This is the first small step for the independence of the Parliament, and it'll continue. That's why the chair is the Speaker of the House and not an executive member, cabinet minister from the government side. So that alone has some independence in and of itself.
Now, among other things, Mitchell says the commission will be responsible for looking into a new site for the Parliament, which he says will be the old site of the General Post Office. Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
A 43-year-old man is behind bars tonight. His alleged crime? Possession of thousands of dollars worth of marijuana. Police seized 42 pounds of suspected marijuana worth $42,000 on Wednesday. Taking him down were officers from the Drug Enforcement Unit and the Canine Unit. It happened around 5 p.m. That's when officers executed a search warrant at a Kim's Crescent home off Blue Hill Road. During the search, they found and confiscated the drugs. And a Haitian man caught traveling with almost $90,000 in undeclared cash had the money forfeited to the Crown. 37-year-old Manel Philemon of Matthew Street pleaded guilty to failing to declare and money laundering at his arraignment before senior magistrate Kendra Kelly. Philemon was arrested at the Lyndon Pindling International Airport on August 13th after authorities found $89,341 hidden away in the lining of his checked luggage. Travelers leaving the country with more than $10,000 are required to declare it to Bahamas Customs. It's unknown where Philemon was headed. Philemon also laundered the money that he says came from multiple sources. The magistrate ordered funds forfeited to the Crown. Philemon will spend 6 months behind bars if he doesn't pay a $2,500 fine. And Exuma's airlift may take a temporary downturn as Sandals Emerald Bay closes their doors. It's all in preparation for the property's transformation into a beaches resort. General Manager of Sandals Emerald Bay, Jeremy Mutton, says Sandals was a key part in attracting the larger airlines that put Exuma on the map. Now, he tells us this.
Inevitably, there is going to be what I would say a downturn economics in Exuma. Certainly, as far as airlift is concerned, Sandals has always been a very big driver of the international airlift. Sandals has been the driver. About 40% of passengers on national flights would be coming to Sandals, which would mean about 60% were either going to other places on the island, the Keys. So clearly, with a closure of Sandals, it will have an effect in terms of airlift, and by extension, unfortunately, where guests and visitors and tourists can't get into the island.
He says that potential impact on the economy is all the more reason it's important for the transformation process to happen as quickly as possible.
It certainly will have an impact, which is why it really is important that, we start in a timely fashion. Again, like I said, it is contingent on government approvals and agreements, but it is very important because as a company, we fully the economic impact and the downturn that it will have.
It's time now for your first look at temperatures. Meteorologist Greg Thompson is standing by in the Weather Center. Greg?
Yeah, thanks, Marlene. I wish we could get rid of some of the heat we've been having. The heat indices are really up there, so it's been a very warm week, and it will continue to remain a warm week for us. 87 degrees is our temperature outside right now. Few clouds. Winds are now out of the north-northwest, courtesy of Ernesto, which is to the east of us, and that's bringing in some slightly cool air, but we won't get that until probably the end of the week. Feels like 97 degrees on the outside, though it's still very warm on the outside there. Taking a look at current temperatures around the islands right now in the northern Bahamas, it's 85 in Freeport, Marsh Harbor, Abaco, 86 in Alistown, Bimini, pair of 87s, well actually 3 87s in Great Harbor Key here in the capital and in Governor's Harbor. Nicholstown and Ross, you are warm at 88. And into the central Bahamas, 87 in Kemps Bay. Pick up 86s once again in Arthurstown, Cat Island, Deadman's Key. Georgetown, Exuma, Copentown, San Salvador, 85s there, and into the southeast Bahamas, 85s, most locations, with the exception being Providenciales, Turks and Caicos Islands. You have a temperature of 88 degrees at this hour. Satellite radar composite. Well, we are under the influence of a ridge of high pressure at the surface and aloft. That ridge aloft is actually in the Gulf of Mexico. There's a weak front to the northern Bahamas, just north of us, and that's providing some isolated showers and thunderstorms across that area. That front will continue to sag slowly towards the south. But of course, Ernesto is still out there in the open Atlantic, and that system will continue to stay away from us. It's eventually going to be moving towards the northeast. Current position, 26.1 north, 68.9 west. Winds are up to 86 miles per hour, so it's still a Category 1 hurricane. Gusts up to 104 miles per hour, and it's moving to the north at 13 miles per hour. We'll continue to do that by the weekend. We expect the system to be over Bermuda, and those guys are going to have to deal with a potential Category 2 system. That's a first look at weather. Stick with us. A look at your extended forecast is still to come.
Still to come on Our News. The Bahamas Humane Society hopes you'll consider donating your unused stamps to help cover the hefty bill it takes to feed their many animals. And in tonight's Sustainability First, we take a look at the carbon footprint of the Olympic Games.
Grand Bahama is home to a unique economic arrangement, with that arrangement between government and the Grand Bahama Port Authority under scrutiny as tensions persist.
It's not our direct responsibility to carry out these other things that people think we should be doing.
We need this to be dealt with quicker than quicker and sooner than sooner.
I have a vision for Grand Bahama, and my vision is actually bigger than my grandfather's ever was.
Watch City in Focus, the story of Freeport with Italia Hall, starting August 7th, only on RTV.
Are you ready for the stormy season? Don't wait until the storm clouds gather. Contact the experts at Alive Business today and let us help you prepare for this hurricane season. For a limited time only, you can get 50% off our Bahamas Cloud, the ultimate solution to secure your data and communications, ensuring they're accessible even in the worst of weather conditions. Don't let the storm catch you off guard this season. Stay ahead of the game with Bahamas Cloud from Alive Business.
This video needs to show us on a different scale. It has to be
extra.
What are you? Hey, Quay.
Hey, what you saying?
Where you with?
I heard you on the bus stop with my friend.
Okay, so we want to shoot this video, and it's gonna be extra.
All right, Jim. I can just come to you. All right. I need your 25 cents no more.
Welcome to Our Sports at 7, presented by 10th Year Seniors. I'm Ronaldo Dorset. That's John Mark Nutt. Let's do show. Team Bahamas arrived in St. Lucia yesterday for the Goodwill Games. No time for sightseeing, no time for pleasantries. They got right down to business. The team got acclimated to the conditions and the pool at the Rodney Heights Aquatic Center.
But this is very important for them to stretch, feel the water, feel the blocks, quick turns off the ball, fast finishes.
Really relieving, mostly because I heard it was hot in St. Lucia, so I was worried that the pool would be hot too, but the temperature is right where I like it to be for a competition.
We have a timeline on the Jazz Chisholm injury. It's good news for Yankees fans. Maybe. The Yankees officially placed Chisholm on the 10-day IL, but are still awaiting further tests and evaluation.
I'm not going to speak before all the doctors have weighed in on it. I just know UCL injury. So we'll see what we have here over the next 24 hours.
The latest edition of the FIBA World Rankings were released, and Team Bahamas improved, but not by enough. The senior men's national team is now ranked number 54. They were ranked at number 56 in 2022 and fell to number 57 after beating Argentina twice at last summer's pre-Olympic qualifiers. That'll do it for Our Sports at 7. This is 10YS. Stay tuned to Our News at 7:30 for details on these stories and more. Back to the studio.
When Our News comes back from the break, we turn our spotlight to stories making headlines across the world as Bermuda braces for the arrival of Hurricane Ernesto. Plus, a prime suspect in Sunday's mass murder in Jamaica fatally shot by police during a targeted operation. We have the details when Our News returns.
Grand Bahama is home to a unique economic arrangement, with that arrangement between government and the Grand Bahama Port Authority under scrutiny as tensions persist.
It's not our direct responsibility to carry out these other things that people think we should be doing.
We need this to be dealt with quicker than quicker and sooner than sooner.
I have a vision for Grand Bahama, and my vision's actually bigger than my grandfather's ever was.
Watch City in Focus, the story of Freeport with Italia Hall, starting August 7th only on RTV.
Are you ready for the stormy season? Don't wait until the storm clouds gather. Contact the experts at Alive Business today and let us help you prepare for this hurricane season. For a limited time only, you can get 50% off our Bahamas Cloud, the ultimate solution to secure your data and communications, ensuring they're accessible even in the worst of weather conditions. Don't let the storm catch you off guard this season. Stay ahead of the game with Bahamas Cloud from Alive Business.
This video needs to show us on a different scale. It has to be
Extra. What, eh?
Hey, Quay.
Hey, what you saying?
Where you with?
I read you on the bus stop with my friend.
Okay, so we want to shoot this video, and it's gonna be extra.
All right, Jim. I can just come to you. All right. I need your 25 cents no more.
This is Our News. Welcome back. We turn our attention now to stories making headlines across the world. Bermuda is now under a hurricane warning as Hurricane Ernesto, currently 795 kilometers south-southwest of the island with 85-mile-per-hour winds, is expected to strengthen. The Bermuda Weather Service warns of tropical storm force winds by Friday afternoon, with hurricane force winds likely by early Saturday. Forecasters predict heavy rain and localized flooding. Steve Smith, a prime suspect in Sunday's mass murder on Cherry Tree Lane, Clarendon, Jamaica, was fatally shot by police on Wednesday during a targeted operation. Smith, also known as Thicka or Flybrain, was wanted for multiple contract killings and other serious crimes in Clarendon and other parishes. Police reported Smith was involved in a confrontation with the Fugitive Apprehension and Clarendon Operational Support teams in Osmond Store, Clarendon. He was shot, taken to Maypen Hospital, and pronounced dead. Smith's death came hours after Acting Commissioner of Police Fitz Bailey linked the Cherry Tree Lane massacre to a feud among overseas gangsters, which has triggered a series of violent incidents in Clarendon over the past 3 years. National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang announced a state of emergency for the area, citing high potential for reprisals. And in the U.S., vice presidential candidates J.D. Vance and Kim Waltz have agreed to a debate on October 1st in New York to be moderated by CBS journalists Nora O'Donnell and Margaret Brennan. Waltz confirmed the date on Wednesday, with Vance following on Thursday, and also proposing a second debate on September 18th, which Waltz has yet to address. Meanwhile, Donald Trump and Kamala Harris are set to debate on September 10th on ABC. And the Olympics may be over, but its impact is far from gone. In recent games, the Olympics' hefty carbon footprint has been highlighted, with each of the last 2 games releasing millions of tons of carbon emissions into the atmosphere. In tonight's Sustainability First, we take a look at how future games can reduce their emissions.
Bahamas First, putting sustainability first for our people and our environment. What's first for you and the planet comes first for us.
The Paris Olympic Games organizers were vocal about their focus on sustainability their turn hosting the Games, stating much of the infrastructure, including the Athletes' Village and additional public transport built for the Games, will be integrated for use long after. Still, organizers projected the carbon footprint of the Paris Olympics to be 1.5 million tons, about half of the carbon footprint of the London and Rio Games. As for future Olympic Games, experts have a few ideas on how to reduce the monumental emissions. Some suggest downsizing the event entirely. Over a third of estimated emissions for the Paris Games were attributed to travel for spectators, athletes, and officials. Or limit the host cities to a rotation of cities, meaning after initial works, the infrastructure will be there. And finally, establishing stronger transparency and accountability rules for the Olympic Committee and encouraging renewable energy use in future games. Still to come in Our News, Today in History. Find out interesting facts about the day that was August 15th. And then in Our News at 7:30, concerned citizens protest Grand Bahama Power Company's base rate proposal in Grand Bahama's Lewis Yard community. And the details of the midday shooting that left a man dead on Bimini. That's coming up when Our News returns.
Grand Bahama is home to a unique economic arrangement, with that arrangement between government and the Grand Bahama Port Authority under scrutiny as tensions persist.
It's not our direct responsibility to carry out these other things that people think we should be doing.
We need this to be dealt with quicker than quicker and sooner than sooner.
I have a vision for Grand Bahama, and my vision's actually bigger than my grandfather's ever was.
Watch City in Focus, the story of Freeport with Italia Hall, starting August 7th only on RTV.
Are you ready for the stormy season? Don't wait until the storm clouds gather. Contact the experts at Alive Business today and let us help you prepare for this hurricane season. For a limited time only, you can get 50% off our Bahamas Cloud, the ultimate solution to secure your data and communications, ensuring they're accessible even in the worst of weather conditions. Don't let the storm catch you off guard this season. Stay ahead of the game with Bahamas Cloud from Alive Business.
This video needs to show us on a different scale. It has to be
Extra. What, eh?
Hey, Quay.
Hey, what you saying?
Where you is?
I right here on the bus stop with my friend.
Okay, so we want to shoot this video, and it's gonna be extra.
All right, Jim. I can just come to you. All right. I need your 25 cents no more.
On this day in Bahamian history in 1928, Paul Lawrence Adderley was born in Nassau. He was a prominent Bahamian politician and lawyer serving in frontline politics from the early 1960s to the early 1990s. He was called to the English Bar and the Bahamas Bar in 1953 and was first elected to the House of Assembly in 1962, representing the Western District of New Providence as a member of the PLP. In 1965, he left the party and formed his own political party, the National Democratic Party, NDP. In the 1967 general election, he failed to win a seat and returned to the PLP in 1972 and was appointed Minister of External Affairs on March 1, 1973, and Attorney General on July 10 that year. He is the country's first and longest-serving Attorney General, serving from 1973 to 1989. Adderley also served as acting Governor General from December 1, 2005 to January 31, 2006. On September 19, 2012, then 2 years later in 2016, Shawnee Miller won gold in the women's 400-meter final at the Games of the 31st Olympiad in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. She clocked a time of 49.44 seconds. With the bruises and bumps to show, Miller dived across the finish line at the Olympic Stadium, beating American Allison Felix and snatching the Bahamas' first gold medal at the Games. Then in 2019, 10 years after 18-year-old Brenton Smith was shot and killed by police, his family reflected on his life, saying time had not healed the wound of his death. Smith was killed on July 9, 2009, while walking with a friend through a shortcut at the rear of the Old City Market food store on Village Road. According to court testimony, the shooting happened shortly after the store was robbed by two men, one of whom police say was armed. Smith was not involved in the robbery. Nearly a year later, a 7-man jury found the officer, Kelsey Monroe, acted in self-defense. And finally, in 2020, National COVID-19 Vaccine Committee Chairman Dr. Mercelin Dalregis announced the country was now experiencing a significant increase in new COVID cases, hospitalizations, and deaths from COVID-19. At the time, the Alpha variant was the predominant strain circulating in the country.
Not sure what to do with your super value quality stamps before they expire next year? The Bahamas Humane Society is hoping you consider donating your unused stamps to their shelter to help cover the thousands of dollars worth of dog and cat food it takes to care for the animals in their shelter and beyond. Inspector Percy Grant is the general manager at the Bahamas Humane Society.
Here at the shelter, we've got over 300 animals, and moving on every single day. We're still having issues with people dumping animals, they're tying animals at our fence when we come at work in the morning. So we're still having issues. And so therefore, we need as much help as possible. Also, when people try to surrender, we are still supporting animals in place. We're giving them food, and we're trying our best to assist as much as we can with households that cannot afford or animals or kids at this time.
With hundreds of animals at the shelter, Grant says it takes hundreds of pounds of food on a regular basis to feed them all.
300-400 pounds, 500 pounds of dog food that we go through all the time. And don't forget the cats. We still have cat. We have cat food as well, and canned cat food is essential. Kitten food, dry food is essential, and puppy chow is essential for animals and nutrition. So we are in desperate need. And if you have stamps lying around, please turn it into the Humane Society. We would really appreciate it.
To watch that story again and for all of today's top stories, visit ournews.bs. Well, that does it for Our News at 7. Joining us now is our Italia Hall with the latest headlines. Italia?
Thanks so much, Marlena. Well, coming up, 2 organizations on Grand Bahama sharing their concerns with the Grand Bahama Power Company, and our Daniel Miller speaks with a hairstylist on how to stay beautiful. Here are your latest headlines. First tonight on Our News Live at 7:30, now is simply not the time. Those words coming from 2 organizations on Grand Bahama who's calling on the Grand Bahama Power Company to reconsider their recent rate adjustment proposal. We'll tell you about the demonstration in the Lewis Yard community straight ahead. Here in the capital, University of Bahamas employees also taking part in a protest. This as they say salary increases are long overdue. Plus, a 32-year-old man shot and killed on the island of Bimini. We have the details straight ahead. And later, follow the law. This as police are cracking down on illegal motorcycles. The full story when Our News returns.
Happiest, most peaceful, most congenial of all countries in the Western Hemisphere today was how the Prime Minister, Mr. Lyndon Pinding, described it in an Eve of Independence news conference. The preacher spoke of the Bahamians as a holy nation and a peculiar people, dependent now only on God.
I love my EV
I am Generation E.
I am Generation E.
I am Generation E.
And I am Generation E.
Well, what you doing here?
I dig in the well to connect to the house of building for me and Mavis.
Why you just don't call water and sewage?
Call them for what?
To get your city water. You don't have to worry about your water cutting off when the power cut off. And your water's clean and safe, free from coliform bacteria.
Cauliflower what?
Call us at 302-5500 to make the switch from well water to city water for a more fresh, reliable water supply for you and your family.
Are you or a loved one under medical care? Do you need affordable medical supplies? Ports International is the largest home healthcare supplier. Medical supplies at the very best price, and you can even shop online. From hospital beds to wound care, wheelchairs to walkers, Ports is a one-stop shop for your medical supplies, and we accept insurance. We have online shopping and 2 locations to serve you, at the Airport Industrial Park and Shirley Street. We also ship to the Family Islands. Shop online and visit us on Facebook. Call Ports at 377-1771.
At the gateway to the Americas, on the picturesque island of Grand Bahama, a pioneering initiative is taking shape. Lucaya Solar Power Limited presents the $15 million Lucaya Solar Power Project, the first of its kind in the Bahamas' energy landscape. The state-of-the-art solar farm on the Fairfield and Devon sites spans just over 30 acres, and once completed, will harness the power of the sun to generate over 9.5 megawatts of heat.
Welcome to our news. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Natalia Hall. The saga continuing on Grand Bahama as the Coalition of Concerned Citizens, along with the Grand Bahama Christian Council, came forward to express their disappointment with the Grand Bahama Power Company's base rate proposal. The 2 organizations calling a press conference in the southern community this morning.
We believe that any business that invests in an enterprise should be allowed to make a profit. But here's the problem. How much profit is allowed? How much profit does one have to make?
That's the question the Grand Bahama Christian Council and the Coalition of Concerned Citizens are asking following the Grand Bahama Power Company's rate increase proposal. The group gathering in the Lewis Yard community to take a stance against the power company. President of the coalition, Pastor Eddie Victor, says he believes IRCA is the regulator for the Bahamas and should have the final say. He adds since Freeport is being disputed due to the Hawksbill Creek Agreement, he's of the view that customers of the power company outside of the city of Freeport, including communities like Smiths Point, Mactown, Mathertown, Pinders Point, and 8 Mile Rock, are exempt from any increases.
IRCA should approve that. And so with this whole question of regulation, it now also has to be paid attention to by the residents of this island and customers.
In 1993, the East and West End agreements were signed, giving regulatory control to the Grand Bahama Port Authority over utilities outside the city of Freeport. Pastor Victor admits he is aware of the agreement. However, there's been amendments in the Electricity Act in 2015 and 2024, which he believes gives IRCA regulatory control. Now on Monday, a number of Grand Bahamians took part in a protest in front of GBP's headquarters to express their concerns, a move the coalition leader commends. He says going forward, his organization will do what's necessary to fight this issue. He's also asking customers outside the port area to make a complaint to IRCA regarding any increase.
Businesses adapt to their customers.
The Grand Bahama Christian Council President, Reverend Kenneth Lewis, says now is simply not the time.
Going to end up with a cost of living increase, and as a result of that, everyone is affected.
As for Pastor Victor, he says if the recent proposal is approved, it would be detrimental to residents.
Economy is down, and it's been down for some time. And so if you put more pressure on the businesses who then have to increase their rates, those challenged individuals, particularly in these areas, are going to have a greater struggle.
Well, frustrated University of the Bahamas workers demonstrating also this morning their outrage over what they say are long overdue salary increases. Dozens of visibly frustrated staff gathered in solidarity outside the university's Performing Arts Theater for the protest. They say they've not gotten salary increases since 2007. Now, this is the 3rd demonstration in 7 months, and Bahamas Public Services Union President Kingsley Ferguson says they're being treated like second-class citizens. They say enough is enough.
Today we are agitating for the review from 2007. We expect consideration to be given from that particular time to this very date. The particulars that the minister indicated that will take place for public servants, while this may be an organization aside, it is subsidized by the Bahamas government. And so we expect that the government will do right by the people that we do represent.
And this just in, we are learning from police this evening that a body of a male has been discovered west of Albany. Now, we are following this story as our reporter Joshua Williams is on the scene. Stay tuned to our social media pages for the latest details. The country's murder count climbed after a 32-year-old man was gunned down in Bimini this afternoon. Police say they found the victim's bullet-ridden body at the Fisherman's Village Marina located north Bimini. The district medical doctor confirming he died at the scene. Member of Parliament for West End and Bimini, Kinsley Smith, issuing a press statement saying the slaying does not represent the island's community. Authorities say they're looking for a 28-year-old man in connection with the incident. An off-duty police officer remains in hospital after he was shot early this morning. Police say the officer was driving on Gladstone Road when he heard gunshots. He felt pain in his upper body and realized he had been shot and called 911. Emergency medical services responded and transported the officer to hospital, where he's listed in serious condition. A man is behind bars after being charged in connection to a drug and gun discovery last month. Police officers allegedly found him with a black Glock 9mm pistol, 11 rounds of ammunition, and 26.5 rounds of marijuana during a July 3rd raid of Emmanuel Sheriffant's home in the Baintown area. 42-year-old Sheriffant pleaded not guilty to charges of possession of a prohibited weapon, possession of ammunition, and possession of dangerous drugs with intent to supply at his arraignment before Magistrate Lennox Colby. He returns to court on August 20th for a bail hearing. Officers in the Road Traffic Division of the Royal Bahamas Police Force say they are aware of reckless motorcyclists on our streets. As of late, residents have complained of cyclists who seem to have no regard for the law, disobeying traffic rules while putting everyone's lives at risk. Second officer in charge of the Traffic Division, Superintendent Karan Jennings, warns officers are out in full force and will be looking out for those bike riders, especially those who have purchased bikes into the country and brought them in illegally.
We're sending a warning to all of those motorcyclists that doesn't have their cycles insured, licensed, that are not wearing their helmets. Their bikes are going to be taken. They're going to be taken to the traffic station. And also what we're going to do is we're going to run your VIN number through customs to make sure that your cycle is on the island legally. We've had a number of cycles come into the country and not coming through customs. So that's one of our avenues that we're taking now to ensure that these cycles are on the road legally.
And of course, the concern always remains for the safety and well-being of not only cyclists, but other individuals on the streets.
If you have your papers and if you have everything correctly, your license, your insurance, wear your helmet, ride respectively, ride to drive to arrive alive, have respect for other road users. The popping and the showboating, that's very dangerous, and you're putting other road drivers and road users at risk.
All right, well, beautiful weather in the capital on this Thursday evening. However, forecasters keeping a close eye on Hurricane Ernesto. Meteorologist Greg Thompson is in the Weather Center with your first look at weather. Greg, what can you tell us?
Well, we are still watching Ernesto, but Ernesto is moving away from us. We are going to be impacted by some swells. So boating and beaching will become a challenge over the next couple of days. We'll show that shortly. 87 degrees is our current temperature. Few clouds outside. North-northwest winds at 9 miles per hour. It feels like temperature is at 97 degrees. Satellite radar composite, quiet across most of the island chain. There is a frontal boundary to the north of the Bahamas, really across central Florida. That's helping to spark a few showers across the northern islands. But Florida is seeing a big blow up with some showers and thunderstorms this afternoon, this evening. Of course, Ernesto is still out there, and we continue to watch that system. The current position places Ernesto at 26.1 degrees north, 68.9 west. Its winds are up to 86 miles per hour now, gusts to 104. Movement is towards the north at 13 miles per hour, and this system will continue that track, eventually turning more towards the northwest. And it could become a potential tropical system, well, actually strengthen to a Category 2 system before it gets to Bermuda. And those guys said they will have to watch this one. That's a quick check on conditions around the island. Stick with us. A look at your extended forecast is still to come.
Still to come on Our News, Beauty and the Beat. Our Daniel Miller speaks to a hairstylist whose mission is to make women feel beautiful. And on tonight's On the Record, Jerome Sawyer speaks with one of the shareholders of the Grand Bahama Port Authority. Hear why he says it will take a public-private partnership for the city of Freeport to succeed when Our News returns. Grand Bahama is home to a unique economic arrangement, with that arrangement between government and the Grand Bahama Port Authority under scrutiny as tensions persist.
It's not our direct responsibility to carry out these other things that people think we should be doing.
We need this to be dealt with quicker than quicker and sooner than sooner.
I have a vision for Grand Bahama, and my vision is actually bigger than my grandfather's ever was.
Watch City in Focus, the story of Freeport with Italia Hall, starting August 7th, only on RTV.
Are you ready for the stormy season? Don't wait until the storm clouds gather. Contact the experts at Alive Business today and let us help you prepare for this hurricane season. For a limited time only, you can get 50% off our Bahamas Cloud, the ultimate solution to secure your data and communications, ensuring they're accessible even in the worst of weather conditions. Don't let the storm catch you off guard this season. Stay ahead of the game with Bahamas Cloud from Alive Business.
This video needs to show us on a different scale. It has to be
Extra. What, eh?
Hey, Quay.
Hey, what you saying?
Where you with?
I heard you on the bus stop with my friend.
Okay, so we want to shoot this video, and it's gonna be extra.
All right, Jim. I can just come to you. All right. I need your 25 cents no more.
Choosing a hairstylist is an important decision in a woman's life. Tonight, our Daniel Miller introduces us to a woman whose mission is to make others feel beautiful. We'll get to that story in a moment, but first, as things heat up between the Grand Bahama Port Authority and government, shareholder of the Grand Bahama Port Authority, Rupert Hayward, touches on what he believes will be the best solution to further develop the city of Freeport and Grand Bahama by extension. Hayward, speaking exclusively with our Jerome Sawyer in tonight's episode of On the Record, says it will take a public-private partnership for the island to progress.
Freeport exists because of a public-private partnership, the 3 Ps. Right, the public being the government, the private being the Port Authority, and then the partnership bit that sits in between. You take any one of those Ps out of the 3 Ps, it doesn't work. If the government isn't performing what it's supposed to do, if the Port Authority isn't performing as well as it should do, or the partnership breaks down, then the model doesn't work. So absolutely the key foundation of a working Freeport and a model that works for the Bahamian people is deep integration and collaboration with the Bahamian government and the Port Authority. And I've always said that, that's absolutely a critical point.
It's now time for tonight's Financial Market Minute, brought to you by RF, your local investment bank. This has been your Financial Market Minute. To explore the best performing mutual funds in the Bahamas, visit our website at www.rfgroup.com.
Coming up in sports, we get a Goodwill Games update, and the country should be preparing to send a strongly worded letter to FIBA. Number 54?
Plus, we're still tracking Hurricane Ernesto. Greg is back with the latest when Our News returns. Stay with us. Unique economic arrangement. With that arrangement between government and the Grand Bahama Port Authority under scrutiny as tensions persist.
It's not our direct responsibility to carry out these other things that people think we should be doing.
We need this to be dealt with quicker than quicker and sooner than sooner.
I have a vision for Grand Bahama, and my vision's actually bigger than my grandfather's ever was.
Watch City in Focus, the story of Freeport with Italia Hall, starting August 7th only on RTV.
Are you ready for the stormy season? Don't wait until the storm clouds gather. Contact the experts at Alive Business today and let us help you prepare for this hurricane season. For a limited time only, you can get 50% off our Bahamas Cloud, the ultimate solution to secure your data and communications, ensuring they're accessible even in the worst of weather conditions. Don't let the storm catch you off guard this season. Stay ahead of the game with Bahamas Cloud from Alive Business.
This video needs to show us on a different scale. It has to be
Extra. What, eh?
Hey, Quay.
Hey, what you saying?
Where you with?
I heard you on the bus stop with my friend.
Okay, so we want to shoot this video, and it's gonna be extra.
All right, Jim. I can just come to you. All right. I need your 25 cents no more.
Coverage from the 28th edition of the Goodwill Games is brought to you by KFC.
Finger licking good.
Welcome to Our Sports, presented by 10th year seniors. I'm Ronaldo Dorset. That's John Mark Nutt. Let's do show. Absolutely nobody is covering the Goodwill Games like us. Team Bahamas hits the pool for their practice session ahead of competition on Friday. Sasha Lightbourne brings us the latest from St. Lucia.
Practices are done and competition is set to begin Friday at 5:30 p.m. at the Rodney Heights Aquatic Center in St. Lucia. Team Bahamas is fired up and ready to go. We spoke to Trinity Pratt and Madison Julian, who have both been on Goodwill teams before, shortly after those practices were done.
The pool felt really nice. I think the water feels fast. Everyone's turns and starts, finishes are looking fast. Everyone's training is looking like it's paying off, and I think we really will win our second year.
It feels quite fast. We worked a lot on our starts and turns, so it's pretty good to see how that felt, so we're ready for competition.
Now, historically, the Goodwill Games is a 25-meter pool meet. Jamaica was an exception last year, as they only have a 50-meter pool. I asked Noah Knowles, who is also no stranger to the Bahamas' Goodwill team, whether the pool size makes a difference.
To me, I feel like if you do the necessary preparations, it doesn't matter what the length of the pool is. Once you get in and try your best, that's all that matters.
The opening ceremonies will kick off the event at 4:30 p.m., and that will be followed by several freestyle, backstroke, and 100-meter medley relays. Reporting from St. Lucia for Our News and Our Sports, I'm Sasha Lightbourne.
The New York Yankees placed Jazz Chisholm on the 10-day injured list. The team made the official announcement yesterday after Chisholm was diagnosed with a left sprained elbow. He swings left-handed and throws right. Yankees manager Aaron Boone said the team is still awaiting second opinions and gave an update on the process.
A UCL injury, to what extent, we're still kind of working through, so we'll kind of probably have a better idea after all the doctors weigh in over the next 24 hours.
No immediate timetable was set for him to resume baseball activities. Chisholm was injured Monday night against the White Sox, sliding into home plate. Since joining the Yankees, Chisholm is hitting .316 with 7 home runs and 11 RBIs in 14 games. He is also the first player in franchise history to hit 7 home runs in his first 12 games with the Yankees.
The Bahamas senior men's national basketball team moved up just 3 spots in the latest edition of the FIBA World Rankings. The team moved up from number 57 to number 54 when the rankings were released earlier today. The Bahamas finished 1 win shy of Olympic qualification last month after a loss to then second-ranked Spain in the final qualifier. Over the last 2 years, Team Bahamas has had a series of historic wins as the international profile of the program continued to grow. Last summer in the pre-Olympic qualifier, the Bahamas defeated number 4 Argentina twice in Argentina. This summer in Spain, they defeated number 50 in Poland and number 20 Finland. At the AmeriCup qualifiers last February, they also defeated number 16 Puerto Rico in the first game of a home and away series. That'll do it for our sports. This is 10YS. FIBA is tripping. Number 54 is crazy.
Yeah, Buddy speaks for us all on the 10YS Instagram page.
Y'all go check it out. Back to the studio.
When our news comes back from the break, forecasters keeping a close eye on Hurricane Ernesto. Greg is back with the latest when our news continues. Grand Bahama is home to a unique economic arrangement, with that arrangement between government and the Grand Bahama Port Authority under scrutiny as tensions persist.
It's not our direct responsibility to carry out these other things that people think we should be doing.
We need this to be dealt with quicker than quicker and sooner than sooner.
I have a vision for Grand Bahama, and my vision's actually bigger than my grandfather's ever was.
Watch City in Focus, the story of Freeport with Italia Hall, starting August 7th only on RTV.
Are you ready for the stormy season? Don't wait until the storm clouds gather. Contact the experts at Alive Business today and let us help you prepare for this hurricane season. For a limited time only, you can get 50% off our Bahamas Cloud, the ultimate solution to secure your data and communications, ensuring they're accessible even in the worst of weather conditions. Don't let the storm catch you off guard this season. Stay ahead of the game with Bahamas Cloud from Alive Business.
This video needs to show us on a different scale. It has to be
Extra.
This is Our News. Welcome back. We are still tracking Ernesto, which is basically moving away from us. Very organized system right now. A lot of convection associated with that. You notice the good outflow of that system that indicates that it is strengthening. It's expected to move towards the northeast over the next couple of days, approaching Bermuda by the end of the week and possibly even making it up to a Category 2 system as it approaches them and then weakening thereafter. Impacts across the islands would be some swells, very large, moderate to large swells affecting the Atlantic exposures. So we're asking you boaters and beachgoers, especially along those Atlantic exposures, to not venture into the Atlantic because it's going to be very rough out there. The Glass Window Bridge may even have some impacts expected there as well. So make sure you take caution crossing that. There is a weak frontal boundary to the north of the Bahamas that's lending support for some isolated showers and thunderstorms. That frontal will side towards the south, bringing us a slight cooler temperatures for the weekend, but we still will expect the temperatures to be near the 90-degree mark. Future forecast showing Ernesto moving away from us, trailing moisture with that frontal boundary dropping into the northwest Bahamas through Friday, and then by Saturday, most of the activity will be washing out and high pressure will be building in back behind that for the upcoming week. Boating forecast, small craft advisory, mainly for the Atlantic exposures. We're asking you boaters not to venture there. Winds will be out of the north to northeast at 10 to 15 knots in the northwest and central Bahamas. They will fall light and variable at times. Seas will be 2 to 4 feet near shore, building up to 9 feet along Atlantic exposures in some swells, northeasterly swells. Low tide is at 11:30 tonight. High tide takes place at 5:14 in the morning. Advisory for the southeast Bahamas as well, but those winds will be more out of the south at 10 to 15 knots. Seas 2 to 4 feet near shore, building up to 9 feet along Atlantic exposures in some northeasterly swells. Here's a look now at your national forecast. In the extended forecast, we'll keep some isolated showers in the forecast through Friday as that boundary hangs out in our neighborhood. But of course, the weekend looking pretty nice. Couple isolated showers expected for the early part of next week. But all in all, temperatures should be near the 90-degree mark. And we could see those heat indices come down just a little bit for the weekend. That's a quick look at conditions around the islands and your weekend forecast.
All right, thanks so much, Greg. Well, this Saturday, the Free National Movement will host their popular Red Splash event. After being on hiatus for over a decade, Chairman of the Free National Movement, Dr. Dwayne Sands, says the return of the event will be a good time for those who attend.
We're inviting people to come to Montague on the 17th, Saturday the 17th of August from 11 o'clock on. Come from near, come from far. Bring your children, bring your ma, bring your daddy, bring your auntie, your uncle, your grandparents. Come and have a good time. Just get some good food, some libation. We'll have fun things for the entire family. And we're looking forward to spending some time together on Montague. Now, hopefully Montague ain't a sink, but we envision a big splash of red.
When asked why the decision was made to have Red Splash return this year, Dr. Sands had this to say.
I think it's just a matter of acknowledging that we are at the 3-year mark and people are tired of this miserable life. They have realized that they get swing. They realized that this crew, this New Day crew, ain't on their run. That I talk about the incompetence, the indifference, and their inability to make a decision, their indecision, okay? And so when you put that together and people are saying, you know, well, what is the alternative? We're inviting you to come out and spend some time at F&M.
Following Red Splash, the party will host a national church service on August 18th at 3 p.m. at St. Michael's Methodist Church. While choosing a hairstylist is an important decision in a woman's life, it's a choice that had to be made considering characters of trust and passion. Our Danielle Miller recently made the decision after having a low cut for several years, and she says she met a woman who has a passion for making people feel beautiful. Let's take a look.
Meet Denise Francis, owner of Beauty Beat Co. When I did my Barbie makeover a few weeks ago, she was my hairstylist. I was introduced to Denise via social media as her warm personality drew me to her content. While scrolling through her page, I discovered she was not only a hairstylist, but also a recent graduate of Barry University attaining a master's degree in curriculum and instruction. Denise told me her love for cosmetology began at a young age and blossomed when she was a college freshman.
I think at the age of 4, because I used to do my sister's hair, like I used to beat her in her head with the comb, and she used to sit there religiously and let me comb her hair. And when I went to COB, my mom and dad was the ones that were paying my school fee and all of that, and I just could not in my heart to ask them, oh, I need you to take me to the salon. So I started doing my hair myself. And then my sisters were like, well, do my hair too. And I started doing their hair. And then people found out about me. And then I got certified in it. And this is how it came into fruition.
Denise says sustaining 2 careers requires a sense of purpose, which is the secret that keeps her going despite challenges she faces.
You know, I'm going out there, educating students. It's almost like beautifying them as well, beautification, kids, and then leaving there and then going to my salon and, you know, making someone feel beautiful.
Before we left her new salon suite, Denise shared this advice to budding cosmetologists.
Don't compare yourself to anyone else. Get certified. Learn as much as you can. Do not take the shortcut when it comes to beauty. It's a very serious thing, because when you're dealing with women and their hair, you should take so much pride into it that you going out there to learn should be your main goal, your main focus.
For more information, you can visit Denise's social media page at Beauty Beat Co. Reporting for Our News, I'm Danielle Miller.
All right, great advice. Thanks so much for that, Danny. And of course, to see that story again, it's available now at ournews.bs. And with that, we thank you for joining us for Our News tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Natalia Hall. We'll see you tomorrow night. Have a great evening. On the Record with Jerome Sawyer starts right now.